In previous sections, I debated Richard Gage's claims in his 9/11 video, Blueprint for Truth, and offered up the best scientific objections I could find to the controlled demolition theory. Now I've taken off my debater's jacket and I'm trying to be as open as I can, maybe even reading from my script a little bit less and looking right into the camera. I do admit I wish I'd invested in a prompter. A lot of people think I should support a new 9/11 investigation, even if I'm unconvinced of the science behind controlled demolition. Richard Gage has repeatedly invited me to join the thousands of people who want a new investigation. In our debate, I posed an objection sometimes to some aspect of the controlled demolition theory, and right away, he would say, well, a new investigation would really answer that question for us. I've also been told that I've only looked at about 10% of the entire 9/11 truth movement's information because I focused exclusively on just the science. Well, that means that there's an awful lot of information out there. I've offered up 235 reasons for natural collapse, all of them carefully researched with the help of countless scientists. Why would I even consider supporting a 9/11 investigation? Well, let me give you a few reasons from Richard Gage and other 9/11 activists. I've not done as much research on these quotes I'm showing on the screen as I have on the science issues, but they have credibility for me because I remember well that the Bush-Cheney administration didn't want a 9/11 investigation at all and only grudgingly allowed it. I have shown these quotes to 9/11 debunkers, and no one has refuted these quotes or said they were taken out of context. What some say is that this is typical of the American political scene, and that we should look at the results of the investigations we already have. The answers 9/11 activists seek are already there. Well, okay, but it seems to me that the political side of this was anything but typical. There have been other investigations, like the one after the Challenger disaster, that did not have this kind of dissent erupting from the commissioners themselves. Richard Gage and others have looked me in the eye and have said surely there are unanswered questions that an investigation could clear up. We can put all our questions and debates to rest once and for all if we just had a real investigation with full subpoena powers. In my Richard Gage rebuttals, I have often asked rhetorical questions to make a point, but not this time. I am torn by Richard's call, and the questions below are completely in earnest. First, as of June 2011, you now have over 1,500 architects and engineers asking for a new investigation of 9/11. That is a very impressive number. You have been collecting these names for years. Do you ever plan to formally present your petition to Congress? 2, who would impanel an independent investigation? Who would appear on the panel? What would it take to satisfy you that you weren't getting another whitewash? 3, I fear the subpoena powers of any independent commission and what it means for the civil liberties of those subpoenaed. We've had witch hunts in this country, not just McCarthyism, but more recently the Whitewater debacle, where Clinton administration underlings were financially destroyed from the cost of defending themselves against the Star Chamber. Who would you like to see subpoenaed and why? Number 4, a policeman can hold a suspect for questioning based only on reasonable suspicion. The scientific evidence for controlled demolition has not risen even to the level of reasonable suspicion in my mind. So I'm being asked to support this investigation based on political assertions. Why should someone who could not find a single piece of compelling scientific evidence for controlled demolition support a new investigation? Number 5, Richard Gage would like to see a 9/11 investigation of possible controlled demolition. Should the commission also look seriously at UFOs, mini-nukes, missiles, energy beams from space, and all the other 9/11 theories? I don't mean this as a put-down. Since going public in my debate with Richard Gage, very sincere people have written to me and said they want an independent commission to investigate their theories, that Gage is on the right track or the wrong track, that all the science supports a different theory. Who would determine which theories are credible enough to get a place on the table? Beyond 9/11, I've also personally received emails from people asking my support for new investigations into the Kennedy assassination, aliens in cold storage and secret government facilities, that the Holocaust never happened, that Obama's birth certificate was fake, and on and on. The top people at AE 9/11 Truth spend their time rebutting the theories they consider implausible and promoting their own. But again, who decides which investigations are merited and which are not? While some of my friends were trying to convince me that 9/11 was a controlled demolition, people were also trying to convince me of massive election fraud in 2000, 2002, 2004. People kept predicting we'd be herded off to camps, that the 2000 election would be called off, that martial law would be declared, that Obama would be assassinated by the CIA. I never heard anything more about these predictions, as one after another they failed to come true. No one who has seen these positions or stated them ever came back and said, wow, was I ever wrong that time? I need to see why I was being so paranoid. Well, Obama got elected and inaugurated in 2008, so all of this flew in the face of these dire predictions. Would a 9/11 investigation take us down some of these roads too? Number 8, what would it take to satisfy you? What if an independent commission exposed cover-up of government incompetence and not much else? What if they explained every scientific claim of yours, as I've tried to do, but this time with full scientific rigor? Would you be satisfied, or would you demand yet another investigation? Number 9, do you envision something like a South African-style truth and reconciliation process, or the full weight of the justice system? Does anger drive you in your call for an investigation? Number 10, while scientific consensus overwhelmingly opposes the controlled demolition theory, why haven't you worked harder to change scientific consensus? You have dust samples and you claim they are thermitic materials. Why don't you submit the dust samples to a reputable lab like R.J. Lee and have them analyze the dust? These are 10 earnest questions I really need answers to. I am torn. Personally, I have not forgiven the Bush and Cheney administration for starting the Iraq War on false pretenses and then calling the Geneva Convention bans on torture quaint. My heart truly goes out, really, to everybody who has suffered so much in this war. I'm disgusted when I think of the resistance that Bush-Cheney had to impaneling a 9/11 investigation at all, and my initial impressions of the commission are not good. I've been a best friend to a 9/11 truth activist for 36 years, so I do feel the pull also to sign Gage's petition just because so many friends would so like to see me support the investigation. I'm also deeply frustrated by the inaction of the 9/11 truth movement when it comes to their own truly investigations that could be independent of this thermitic dust. They can get their dust tested at an affordable independent lab, and they have not. I'm on the fence now. I speak for many people who I believe would begin to support your efforts if you prove that the dust is full of unexploded thermitic materials. You need a standard, independent lab test. I am waiting. Please, prove me wrong so I can throw my support behind your cause.